I think the difference in coaching a player and how a player trains are two different things. So Bill, the way he would coach, you knew going into that building, it didn't matter if you were a first-year player, if you were in your 20th year, didn't matter. He's going to coach everybody hard. He's going to make sure that everybody is at their best, because a coach is supposed to make every player play at the highest that they can possibly be. So if you made a mistake, myself included, if I missed a tackle, had a mental error, Bill was going to tell me about it. He might tell me about it in front of the whole team. Same with Tom. So Tom, in a certain situation, everyone understood coming into the building, didn't matter who you were. Now, training, I can understand that, because when you're a little bit older, me being a young player versus me being an older player, you can't do the same things. Putting a bar on my back right now would hurt, right? So when I was young, that's what you did. So I think that there's a difference here in how you were coaching a player and how a player should train. And there's two philosophies there.
Got it.
I personally think that you can take bits and pieces of everyone's different ideas of how to prepare. TB12 was great for soft tissue, massaging, all that stuff helped me stay on the field, but also I had to lift weights. Because if I didn't lift weights, guess where I'd be? Thrown over the Gatorade table. You know what I'm saying? There's different positions and different ways you have to go about training to get yourself prepared for
the point is that Bill was all over Brady in meetings and film and all kinds of things, like he might have been
all over me, all over me too. So
and you were a great player. But Tom Brady is Tom freaking Brady, I think, if I may, for everybody. And he would still do that. Bill is calling him out in meetings like anybody else.
I think that that's just, you understand that that's the way that Bill's going to be. So when he does that with a player that's a Hall of Fame football player, I think it sets the tone, and everyone understands nobody's going to be treated differently here. And coaching, like I said, they're trying to make sure that everyone is playing at their best, and Bill is always going to do that.
RC, what do you think?
Duh. Like, this is a non-story. You even said it yourself, Greeny. Like, this isn't a secret. This isn't news. There were so many times that we would come on this show or come on other shows and talk about how Bill Belichick kind of coached like Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich had Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward of all time, but he was no better than the 12th man on the bench. And Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, Tom Brady was no better than the 53rd man on the roster. That's what made this team great. Bill's ability to treat everybody the same. Wasn't that the Patriot way? Oh, and didn't we always talk about Tom Brady being the leader of the Patriot way? Wouldn't we always say, if you're a rookie, you know you have to get in line? Because look at the way Bill Belichick treats Tom Brady. Look at the way that Tom Brady works. Tom Brady takes less money. Tom Brady. And now his friend, who has protective feelings. Why you got protective feelings, Alex? The reason anybody knows you, Alex, is because you got to get with Tom Brady and he had some extra stuff that you ain't have nothing to do with that now has him being the greatest player of all time. It's not about what Bill Belichick did to Tom Brady. It's about the fact that evolution comes out of necessity. If you start to lose, then you have to evolve. If you start to stink, then you have to evolve. Guess what? For 2 decades, Bill Belichick and the Patriots ain't never stink. Tom Brady gets hurt, they go 11-5. So why am I evolving if it's working? Why am I evolving if Tom Brady is accepting it? And so for this to come out now, to me, that's just petty. To me, that's just sour grapes. To me, that's just somebody that wants to get their name called, wants to be talked about on TV. And I'm actually sad that we're doing it because there is no new news.
That's fascinating to me. The reason that it is so interesting, Dan, at least one of the reasons, is that we're a week away from this unprecedented return. This will be the most hyped-up game ever, and maybe the fact that Brady is coming in wearing one extra Super Bowl ring contributes to this as well.
It's a victory lap, right? I mean, we're 9 days away from this game. It's the most anticipated game of the NFL season. My producer I'm working with this weekend said the hotel near the stadium is charging $2,600 for that night for a room. Like, it is, if people are fired up, and Tom Brady and his people around there are fired up. But if they hadn't won, if the Bucs had gone 7-9 last year, right, then you probably don't feel. Maybe there's a little bit of this, but the crowing that the people around Brady feel like doing right now is because they're emboldened by the fact that he went and he won, and now, you know, the winners get to write history and all that.
Absolutely. And then, Sacho, we come to you, because Brady as you saw, I mean, expertly in that soundbite, just immediately turned it to the present. Turned it to where he is now and how it's working. And he's playing for Bruce Arians, a very different kind of head coach who you played for. How do you see that difference?
Yeah, BA is so different. That's the thing. Like, yes, Tom Brady went and he won, and we're all lauding that and applauding that. But the way he won is what was different. Bruce Arians, the way he coaches, he's very free. Yes, he will call out players in their faces in front of team meetings. But at the same time, he'll go out with the players, hang out, kick it, give players off days. Like, there were so many times I'd be in Tampa Bay, and our five-star players, as BA says, they be in a shirt and T-shirts. And I'm like, bro, I'm at full pads practicing. But that's how BA is with his five-star players. One thing he always says in team meetings, he said, I need my five-star players to play like five-star players. And you know what he does? He treats them like five-star players.
You know, it's interesting because there was a moment in time last season when Bruce Arians was calling out Brady in public. Remember that? He had unveiled critical comments about Brady in public.
I mean, the difference, right? Like all the reporting that's been done on Brady and the end of the Patriots, right? How he didn't feel like he was treated right. He was never named Patriot of the Week. Right. All that kind of stuff. Like if Bruce Arians is doing that publicly, but then privately he's treating him the way that he wants to be treated, then I think Brady can handle that.
That's the difference. I remember being back in Arizona playing with the Cardinals. I was there from 2011 to 2014, and BA came in 2013. And I saw the way that BA called out our superstar player, Larry Fitzgerald. Like literally in front of the entire team. He would cuss Fitz out. He would get on Fitz on his alignments. I'm like, this is Larry Fitzgerald. But at the same time, you'd see him hugging Fitz on the sideline the next week or the next day. And so, yes, on the outside, Bruce Arians will critique any player. That's how he coaches. But at the same time, he will listen to the player. He'll get the game plan involved with that player. And that's the difference between Bruce Arians and Bill Belichick.
Nico, were you ever named Patriot of the Week?
No.
Did that sting? Did that hurt? I mean, is that still eating you?
No. I mean, maybe I have some nightmares at night thinking I should have got, the Patriot of the Week. 3 sacks in a game against the Buffalo. Who's thinking about it?
If Brady was never, who was the Patriot of the
I guess
Week?
that was probably his.
They must have had some good weeks.
Different styles, no doubt. But I mean, it is important to remember here, Arians is still 5 rings behind Belichick, so it's not as if we could say one's right and one's wrong.
Yeah, but Brady is one ahead.
Right.
And that's the difference that I think matters this week. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.